Welcome. My name is Hope, and I'm a third year kinesiology student at the University of Toronto.
Hi, my name is Hemraj, and I'm a third year kinesiology student at U of T.
And my name is Jasleen. I am also a third year kinesiology student at U of T. We are YEI, which stands for You Are Yemen, and we're an STP organization based out of a small country located in the Middle East known as Yemen. Our goal at YEI is to use sport as a sustainable tool to build character and increase the level of education of the youth population, in hopes of reducing the conflict within communities of Yemen, ultimately creating unity within the nation.
Imagine going to bed at night and not knowing whether or not your home will be left standing in the morning. Imagine waking up to the sounds of gunfire and not knowing if you just lost a sister, brother, parent, or a friend. Imagine leaving your home to go retrieve drinking water because you don't have running water or electricity and not knowing if you will make it back alive and healthy. For a large portion of the Yemen population, this is their everyday reality.
Yemen has been in a state of civil war since 2011 after the failure of the political transition that was supposed to bring stability and peace to Yemen, following an Arab Spring uprising that forced its longtime authoritarian president, Ali Abdullah Saleh, to hand over power to his deputy in 2011. It was a failure of this political transition that sent Yemen spiraling into a state of civil war and poverty.
The civil war within Yemen is led by two different factions and their allies, the Abu Dhabi Mansur Hadi led Yemeni government and the Houthi armed movement. The civil war has greatly decreased the quality of life of the people of Yemen, as 2/3 of the population does not have access to clean drinking water, electricity, and many families have lost their homes and methods of shelter to civil war grounds.
Since the outbreak of the civil war, the quality of life for people of Yemen has greatly decreased, and the devastation has led people to call it the world's worst humanitarian crisis to happen in the last 100 years.
The intentions of YEI are to improve the quality of life in Yemen and reduce the amount of civil conflict in the country by establishing peace between the two factions. We intend to establish this peace between the two factions through the use of sport-based programs and initiatives that target the youth in Yemen.
Our plan is to develop a program that uses the sport of soccer as a base to educate the youth of Yemen, teach them interpersonal skills like cooperation, communication, and leadership, and to facilitate relationships between youth of the two different factions.
Our program will be designed in a way that the youth will be grouped into four different age groups. There will be a 5 to 8 age group, a 9 to 12 age group, and a 13 to 15 age group, and also a 16 to 18 age group. Ideally, the children of Yemen will start their journey with YEI in the 5 to 8 age group and continue through our program for all 13 years. But we also will make it possible for them to begin at any stage of the program.
The structure of the program and the integration of the physical activity and education portions will look similar to how a modern-day summer camp looks. In the morning, the children will participate in educational sessions such as HIV prevention, healthy lifestyle choices, basic academic courses like math and geography, and even some business and work-related sessions. After their morning sessions, the kids will be given lunch, and then the kids will participate in drills that teach them the technical skills of football and the gameplay strategies of football. They will also engage in mini games and competitions in some of their sessions. The program will take place 5 days a week, Monday to Friday, and will run on a 4-month on, 2-month off cycle starting in January of the calendar year. The children will also be provided breakfast and lunch each day to ensure that they are properly fueled and energized for the day ahead.
The key aspect to the structure of our initiative is that the youth from the two different factions are intermixed in their age groups. They will be given the opportunity to work together in both an educational environment and on the soccer field. Our hope is that this will establish positive relationship between the two groups in the kids at a young age, so that when they are older they do not see each other as the enemy, but rather as peers and friends. This will ultimately reduce the tension between the two groups and hopefully the overall civil conflict within Yemen.
The objective of our program is to use soccer as an initial attraction for the youth of Yemen to join our program and engage in the educational practices offered. The structure of the day is set up so that the schoolwork and the educational sessions are done in the morning and the sport component of it is done in the afternoon, acting as if it is like a reward for them. We have also chosen to keep this structure consistent through the duration of the entire program so the kids are given a sense of structure to their lives.
Based on the success of the program just described, our ultimate hope is to grow our sponsorships, partners, and trust within the Yemen communities as a way to open up a door to a new, much larger initiative. This initiative would work with sponsors back in Canada, and it would bring families from Yemen to Canada for a better life. This initiative will take time to put together, but our hope is that we gain enough support to change the lives of many Yemeni families.
Here at Yay, we have chosen to use sport as the driving force for our program, as we believe that the skills and lessons learned on the field and or on the court translate seamlessly into everyday life.
We believe that sport has the capability to teach the youth of Yemen the skills needed to advance their society and reduce their civil conflict, like leadership, cooperation, responsibility, and communication. For example, in sport, kids are forced to work with their peers and teammates to accomplish a common goal. In football, that goal is to get that ball down the field and into the other team's net. And in order to do this successfully, they need to use communication and cooperation. Sport approaches teaching these skills to youth through first hand experience, which is the main reason why we chose to use sport.
In learning these skills through first-hand experience, we believe that the youth of Yemen will develop a more universal and in-depth understanding of how to use these skills. The first-hand learning experience will help facilitate a smoother transfer for the skills learned within the sports setting to an everyday life setting, as it creates that more universal understanding of how to apply them.
Okay. The quality of life is very low in Yemen, and due to the constant ongoing civil wars, the access to basic resources like clean water are continuously decreasing. It is our goal at Yay to both reduce civil conflict within Yemen and to increase the overall quality of life for its people using ideas associated with peace and development.
We believe that in order to initiate development and change within Yemen, peace between the two factions must first be established. Once peace is reached, we will then be able to start increasing the quality of life in Yemen by developing and rebuilding its communities.
At Yay, we believe that the establishment of peace within Yemen starts with changing the views and beliefs of their youth. We created a program that aims to create positive relationships between the youth of the opposing factions in Yemen, as well as increase the overall level of education within the Yemen youth population. Through changing how the youth in Yemen view their peers from opposing factions, we believe that we can slowly begin to eliminate the conflict and rivalry that exists between the two groups, ultimately reducing the civil conflict in the country.
Once the civil conflict is reduced and a certain degree of peace has been established in Yemen, then the rebuilding and development of the quality of life can begin, and we can start to move in a direction towards the more safe and sustainable Yemen.
At Yay, we value the results obtained from our monitoring and evaluation processes. And we take to heart the feedback that we receive from past participants. We pride ourselves in being a very adaptable organization and one that is constantly looking for ways to improve its initiatives and increase the positive impact it has. One way that we intend to conduct MNE is through bi-weekly newsletters that contain information on the progress of our initiatives, how to become involved in our organization as a volunteer, as well as it will contain statements and testimonials of past participants. These testimonials will reflect the impacts our program has had on past participants, as well as they will give insight on the prospective participants on what our program can accomplish and skills they can learn from us.
Another way that we intend to conduct evaluation of our program is through conducting brief interviews with our participants. One when they first enter our program, and then another when they are finished our program. The purpose of this interview is to compare their feelings towards kids from the opposing faction before partaking in our program to after having completed our program. This way, we will be able to see if the program and initiatives were able to change the way that they view their peers in a positive way, and one that promises for a more cohesive Yemen population in the near future.
Lastly, we have created a website that outlines all the information found in the biweekly newsletter, as well as the results and statistics collected from our interviews. This way, the larger population of the world is able to learn about our programs and our values as an organization.
Here at YEA, we believe that our organization has the ability to severely reduce the levels of conflict within Yemen and foster positive relationships between members of each faction. We also believe that our programs have the potential to greatly increase the overall level of education within Yemen.
By greatly increasing the overall levels of education in Yemen and decreasing the amount of civil conflict in Yemen, we believe that our program has the potential to improve the overall quality of life for the people in Yemen and to give them back access to basic human resources such as clean drinking water and proper shelter.
Lastly, one possibility of our program that we hope to reach in the future is an initiative in which families from Yemen are sponsored by large corporations and sport organizations and relocated to Canada for a better life and a better chance at a higher education.
For our organization, one of the biggest limitations that we expect to face is that since there are so many active civil war zones in Yemen, the areas and communities in which we will be safely able to operate our program are very limited. Our initiatives will not be able to spread throughout all of Yemen, which will make it significantly harder to resolve the conflict and establish peace.
Another issue for our organization that arises due to the high amounts of civil conflict is that it will be difficult for our volunteers to gain the trust of the Yemeni people. Without this trust, we would not be able to effectively run our program, as we will not have willing participants, nor will we be granted the space and facilities to run it.
Another limitation that we need to be prepared to overcome is the possibility that the use of sport and competition could do the opposite of what it is intended to do, and actually fuel the already existing conflict between kids of opposing factions. It is impossible to remove the competitive aspect of sport completely. Therefore, we will need to be prepared to intervene and alter the structure and practices of our program if we begin to notice that it is fostering conflict, enhancing the tension between the two factions.
Lastly, sustainability of the program will be difficult to facilitate due to the constant conflict and ongoing civil wars. The constant active war zones makes it difficult for us to reach and impact all areas of Yemen, and without everyone being on the same page and the youth being taught the same new practices, it will be very difficult to establish a permanent sense of peace. The constant ongoing conflict also threatens sustainability, as when the children leave the confinements of the program, whether it be just for the day or for good, there is no guarantee that what they have learned will stick with them moving forward, as the adults around them still have the original ideas of conflict and separation resonate within them.
As emphasized throughout the video, the youth of Yemen are the future, and therefore at YEA, we strongly believe that in order to create change we intend, our program must target creating change and growth within them.
Our program has two goals. The first, to reduce the civil conflict in Yemen, and the second, to create a greater quality of life for the people of Yemen. We at YEA intend to exhaust all resources possible in order to accomplish both of these goals. And the people, a part of our organization, our staff, volunteers, sponsors, and partners all share our desire to exhaust all our resources.
With your help and action, we can accomplish our mission of using sport as a sustainable tool to build character and increase the level of education in the youth population in hopes of reducing the conflict within Yemen communities, ultimately creating unity within the nation.
We would like to thank you for watching our video and listening to our proposal with an open mind. We hope you enjoyed learning about our organization and our values. We hope that we will be able to work together in the near future.
If you have any additional questions or wish to get in contact with us, please visit our website at youareyemen.ca.